Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 Loud, Lucid, and Laughs, Bad Drivers, and My Pet Peeves. If you can kind of see behind me here, not recording from the deep dark depths of the basement. So we're doing a little traveling this week, and this is the somewhat dark of the hotel room. I have a lamp behind me that apparently has decided not to work. Was hoping for a little more light, so hopefully it's not too bad and you all can see me. And then maybe again, it's better that it's dark and you can't see me as well and you can just hear me. So, drivers. Uh, Intro episode, I mentioned a dad joke about driving on the parkway and, not parking in the driveway. Which this episode is probably about people that should stay parked in the driveway and probably not even be in the car. So my bonus daughter, she posted something on Facebook today, and I had to laugh, and of course then I had to comment. It was a meme that said, "I love kindness, unless it's a person at a four-way stop waving for me to go when it's clearly their turn." I had to laugh at that because that has happened a lot, and so I had to comment on it too. I put, you know what, just yesterday, and I question why. Clearly, it's your turn. Please go. She replied, or when everyone sits there and no one moves at all for like a solid minute, and then you start to go and everyone else goes at the exact same time. Now, in my defense, and Gina can attest to this one, you get your chance, then I'm going. It's that simple. You're going to probably get about a 10-second window, maybe 15, and if you don't go, well, that's your own fault. And with that, it leads me to our podcast. By the way, we're also working on an intro that we're going to open up each episode, show, podcast, and it goes a little something like this. Hey there, if you're looking for something with no structure that has no set parameters and open to talk about anything and everything, well, you found the right space, place, audio, podcast. We're just about having fun and staying grounded, while sometimes getting loud. And with that, welcome to Loud, Lucid, and Laughs. So hopefully when we get this a little more going and we get some more episodes recorded, we'll do a little more editing. You'll hear that as our intro every time that we come into it, and we'll come up with a little tagline of, people say, well, what's your podcast about? Something about nothing and a little about everything. And you'll see that in our logo there too. So that'll be a tagline that we throw out there. P.S. Wait, okay. I got a note. I got a note I got to read here. It says, our lawyers say we have to say this is our opinions and not the opinions of any other entity. All right, that's been said. So with that, let's move on. Side note, once this gets posted, I'm going to throw a picture up there on our sites that will allow me to put pictures up. I want you all to take a look at it. It is from a radio show. It popped up on my memories on Facebook today. And it is from the radio show that I did back in the day with my co-host, Jeff Cooley. He's in the picture. And we had a special performing guest that evening, and that was Jeff Barnes. Barnes will probably never know about this because he doesn't have Facebook or any other social media sites, so he'll probably never see it, just unless his brother shows it to him, or I don't know if his wife will catch it or not. But Cooley, you'll probably see it. 13 years ago, dude. 14 years ago. So, anywho, back to our story, or stories. Bad drivers, or my pet peeves of people who drive. I did a Facebook rant on this one several years ago, and I went on, I think it was like 5 or 6 days, posting different things that drove me nuts. Now, listen, first off, I don't have road rage. But if you've ever seen the movie Otto, okay, that could be me. If you haven't seen it, just go watch a trailer and you'll probably see anytime somebody driving does something wrong, Tom Hanks plays Otto and he says, "Idiot!" And I have that tendency. I know it's not a good tendency, but I have it. I'm by no means, and I can't remember the name of the movie right now, but there's another one with Russell Crowe where the lady honks her horn and it drives him a little crazy because he's having a bad day. I'm not that guy. That's not me. So, and honestly, I mean, I think I could probably write a book on what I've seen on the road because I've done a lot of traveling in my jobs that I've had. Matter of fact, I've put about 90,000 miles on a vehicle in the last 2.5 years. Last place that I worked, I had one that I had put close to 100,000 miles in about 3 years. So I get a lot of windshield time, is what they call it. And even in personal life, I love to get out and do drives. I love to do Sunday drives, Saturday drives, and my wife and I have picked up a side hustle, doing some door dashing on the weekends in her car, and I drive, not her. So I get a lot of windshield time that way, and that's a whole nother podcast because I could do a whole podcast on door dashing, and it would be fun. I don't know if any of you are doing door dashing. If you are, send me some stories. You can send them to me through Facebook. You can pop a message up on, X, formerly known as Twitter. You can also email me at the_bigpoppyshow@yahoo.com. That is THE_BIGPAPISHOW And hey, you can't see it. Remember those sound effects I was talking about trying to get rid of? Well, I'm not in the studio. I'm not using my mic, and I talked to my sound guy that's helped me set all that up, and he told me he's given me a thing I can go get, and I haven't done it yet, that I can put on there, and it'll take all that background noise out. But unfortunately, I don't have my studio mic. This is coming straight to you from the video feed on my camera, so you're probably going to hear that. Hopefully it's not too loud and too obnoxious. But anyway, we'll get back to the whole podcast here. The first topic that brings me to is drivers driving distracted by various means. So, and what I'm about to tell you is stuff I have actually seen, unless I'm stating it otherwise. Putting on makeup while you're driving. And in this day and age, unfortunately, it could be, anybody. But I'm passing a lady, and a young lady, and she has the visor down, little flap open with the lights on, got the mirror there, and I'm watching her doing her eyelashes while driving. I'm thinking that can't be good. I mean, I want both my eyes. I don't want to poke one out. Probably not the best thing to do while you're driving. reading a book. I passed a guy one day, and now listen, I'm a book lover, all right? Um, you can ask anybody that knows me. I love reading a book. I'm in a hotel tonight. I'm recording this right now. When I get done, I got a book with me. I'm probably going to read that book. Which, plug for a book series. You know, this is my commercial portion of the podcast. If you have not read Pierce Brown, there's a series called Red Rising. This is the, I want to say, fourth book in the series, and I'm about halfway through. They're all about that big, and my daughter turned me on to this. Shelby, she is a huge audiobook person, and she listened to the audiobooks. She might not have ever got, taught how to read. I don't know. I tried. We read a lot when she was younger, but now she listens to it on audio. She's also a teacher. So there you go. Commercial plug. Anyway, so this guy's reading a book. He's got the book open, got his hands on the steering wheel like this, and he's driving. Imagine he's getting about 3 or 4 sentences in and giving it a look. And like I said, I'm a book lover. But I'm probably not going to read a book while I'm driving. No, there's no probably. I'm just not going to do that. I don't get it. I know, books are great, man. I get into a book and it's hard to set it down. And I normally have a little 15, 20-minute reading session at night before I go to bed. And it is hard to put down, but I don't think we need to read while we're driving. I don't think we need to do that. So, another big one is the phone. I'm so confused with this one, especially if you're driving a newer vehicle. There are so many newer vehicles that have hands-free. See this? You don't need them. You hook it to your car system, and it's got speakers, and it's got microphones, and they can hear you. Perfect that way. But what I don't understand is when I pass that person, and this is what I see. Hi, yes, we're having a conference call here. This is the phone sitting in the middle of the big desk. I've got 20 people gathered around me. They're all listening. And Marcus, I need to talk to you about your TPS reports. I don't need to see this when I'm driving by you. I mean, I guess it's better than this, but I can clearly see you're driving a newer car. Now I get it if it's an older car, but guess what? They still make devices that you can put on your dash or somewhere that's a little speaker you can hook to, and you can still go hands-free. No need to be holding the phone at this point, folks. Doesn't need to happen. Or maybe you're doing one of these. I don't know, maybe you're watching a video. I don't know if you're texting. Tick, 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 tick. I'm not sure what's going on. But at any point, if you're going to do it, wouldn't the smart thing to be like this? At least I can still see the road while I'm doing both. I'm not by any means telling you to do that. Don't. But good heavens, there's no need to look down at your seat while you're driving. You know what can happen? There's no need. You put the phone down. Just leave the phone down. It's not that important. If it is that important, pull over to the side of the road. Send the text message. Take the call. Whatever it needs to be. Newsflash. We know you're doing it. Clearly when we drive by you, we know you're doing it. So why hold the phone down like you're hiding? I get it. There's a couple states, Illinois, you get a ticket if they see it. Missouri's going to be the same way. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody can throw that one out there, but I think it's already part of a law, but they're not kicking it in until August, I think. So there's no need. And you know what? These people are really a hoot when you're behind them. Because you can always tell most of the time that distracted driving, and it could be something else. Oh, I dropped my gum on the floor, or oh, hey, I'm trying to pick up a pen because, I got to do this, or, it's on the phone. And you get to see this. It's like watching a movie. Remember the old movies from like the 80s where the guy's behind the wheel and this is what he's doing the whole time? And you can just picture that car. If any of you remember at that young age when you were driving, this is what you'd be seeing that car really doing in real life. Well, that's what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing him go over to the rumble strips. And then I'm seeing cross over the center line. Back to the rumble strips. Back and forth. The first time you hit the rumble strips, that ought to be a thing to tell you, I probably should not be doing this. Stop. Just stop. I once watched a young lady, and I'm not sure. She might have been filling out paperwork. She might have been doing homework. She might have been trying to get a test done. She's driving down the road. She's got her hand on the wheel, the paper stuck underneath the hand going across the middle of the steering wheel. She's got a pen in this hand and she's doing stuff, writing stuff down. I'm looking over there and I'm like, the answer's B. If it's an A and B question, the answer's B. I mean, you got a 50-50 chance. Just choose one. It shouldn't take that long. Now, I could be wrong. This was happening on a major highway, 4 lanes of traffic, busy part of the time of the day. And I could be wrong. She might not have been answering an A or B question. She could have been maybe writing out about the 97-98 Asian financial crisis that began in Thailand, and then it quickly spread to neighboring economies because Bangkok had unpegged the Thai baht from the US dollar, which set off a series of currency devaluations and massive flights of capital. You see what I did there, Rich? Huh. Rich posted something the other day about a topic that I should talk about. And that was the topic. So Rich just got his topic thrown into the middle of a podcast while you all got a history lesson. Yeah. Topic inside of a topic. Or as Deadpool would say, fourth wall broken? That was a comic book insert. Told you all, I'm a comic book geek. You're probably going to hear some comic book stuff. You're going to hear some movie stuff, whatever it might be. If you don't know, look up references. Trust me, there's so much going on with distracted drivers. But what about the ones that can't maintain their speed? And just today, this was just today. But trust me, it happens every single time I'm out there. People know who you are. I use cruise control. I'm on the highway a lot. So 90% of the time, if it's open roads, I'm on cruise. I set my cruise. I'm coming up behind a car. Put the blinker on. Move into that fast passing lane. That's a whole nother story. I go around them and they speed up. So I put the blinker on, move back in behind them. We go that way for a little bit. Here we go, second chance. Same thing. Move back in behind them. Now here we go, third chance. Move back in behind them. And they finally decide just to speed up and take off. That's fine. I'm on cruise. That's cool. I just had to move back and forth a few times. So then I come up on another person. Same thing. Move over into the passing lane. They speed up. I pull back in behind them. Second chance I move over. Hey, it looks like we're going to get around them this time. I get almost neck and neck with the other car, and what do? Let's drive beside each other for a while and see how that goes. Of course, I'm watching my rear view. I'm in the fast lane now. I'm in that passing lane. I should be passing that vehicle and getting around them, but I don't want to drive too far over the speed limit. I look back. Here comes a car up on me. So I'm like, okay, now I do got to speed up and I got to get over. So I do, and as I get over, that person tends to slow down. So I kick back onto my cruise, and I'm cruising on my speed. And next thing I know, this car over here in the fast lane goes by. This lady pulls out, gets up behind him, and she takes off with him. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't need you to match speeds with me. I need you to be aware of what you're doing and either use the cruise control or learn how to use your foot. It's probably, it's pretty simple. Which brings me to that whole passing lane, fast lane thing. Honestly, folks, that's for the people that want the tickets. I mean, ask my wife. You know, the ones that think they're in Days of Thunder and they got to do 90 more miles an hour. Um, that's those people. Well, let's try this. Sorry about that, folks. It must be close to my bedtime because my phone went into sleep mode, and that kicks everything down. So we'll see how that turns out. Again, a work in progress. Um, like I was saying, the people that need to drive 90 over or plus, right, Gina? Those people. That's what that fast lane, passing lane is for. Or, people like my son-in-law, Matt, who might have gotten pulled over, going a little too fast by a cop, which, by the way, he's a cop too. Oh, seriously, please, for the love of everything holy, do not use that lane to drive in. How? How is it even possible that you people are getting licenses when you don't know the basis of driver education? I mean, you had to read a book. You had to take a test. It's all in there. It's a passing lane. It's only used for passing. The people that like to drive fast like the Autobahn. Oh, yeah. And while we're at that, let's talk about ramps. The last time I checked the law, the ramp to get onto the highway was for you to get up to highway speed. So if that's 60 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour, by the time you get to the top of that ramp, you should be doing that speed to blend into traffic. I don't want to be that guy that's behind you and we're doing 35 at the top of the ramp with 8 cars coming up on us doing 60 to 65. And we're trying to get in. And you wait till that very end of the ramp to finally hit the gas and go. There's a reason that Cole Trickle said, "Get me out in front of that pace car, Harry." There's a reason. And while we're at that, not only while you're getting on, but while you're in traffic. I know this is hard for a lot of people, but there's this thing called a blinker. Seriously, it's one of the greatest inventions on a car. Do you understand that? Brought about in 1939. Now, I'm going to read this to you because I think this is how important this is. Brought about in 1939 as a safety feature. Turn signals were first advertised as flashway directional indicators when they were available. The flashing signals only operated on the rear of the vehicles until 1940. Buick made their directional indicators. I'm going left or right, folks. Be prepared. By extending the signals to the front lights and adding a self-canceling mechanism. In case you're not aware of it, that means it cancels itself. In that year, directional signals became typical on Buicks and Cadillac vehicles. But if you wanted one on a Chevy, an Oldsmobile, or Pontiac, it would cost you $8 extra. There's not an extra fee now anymore, folks. They're on there. I got it. I know. They're built in there somewhere. Okay? I get that. But they're there. Let's use them. You paid for it. And while we're at that, not only just blinkers, but is there a need to follow so close to my bumper that I can look through my rearview mirror and I can't even see the hood of your car. But I can see what you're wearing. I can tell if you shaved that day. I can tell if you styled your hair. I could probably even tell the color glasses that you're wearing on your face because you're that close to the back end of my car. If there's a sudden stop, I don't want to have to share my bottle of water with you. I carry a bottle of water. Guess what? That water sits in my center console. I don't want to have to come to a sudden stop and look over and you're sitting next to me. So I'm not going to share my water. I'm not going to offer any of it to you. I'm going to ask you what you were thinking. I'm going to probably take a line from Otto. I already said that, so you know what he says. Oh yeah, guess what? If there are any other cars in front of me going the same speed, and you're riding my bumper, trying to make us go faster, you're not going to magically draft around me and pass. It's already happening. There's no need to try and go faster. There's no need to ride my bumper. The other 7 cars in front of me are all doing the same speed. Nothing's going to change. Added note. And this one also refers to leaving that 2 to 3 second gap. I like to be a driver most of the time. And I'll make sure that I try to, keep Gina from ever watching this episode. But most of the time, I try to leave a 2 to 3 second gap in between me and the car in front of me, which is what they tell you to do in case you got to make a sudden stop and then you don't hit the person in front of you and so on and so forth. That gap is not there for you to squeeze into and create a possible accident because now there's no time to stop in an emergency. I'm not leaving that gap there saying, hey, come on up, man. I want you to slip in here. Not happening. Listen, I could go on and on. I don't want to steal everyone's days of thunder. Yeah. So, you know what? Leave me a comment on Facebook, on the page, or wherever else about your driving dilemmas or your pet peeves. I'd love to hear about them. And if you want, like I said, leave me a message on my email, the_bigpapi_show@yahoo.com. THE_BIGPAPISHOW@yahoo.com. I would love to hear about your dilemmas, and maybe it's something I can circle back around and we can talk about in another episode. I think it would be fun to be able to read stuff that people put out there. Like I threw Rich's comment in on this one. And at one point that if we have the ability to go live, then I would also love to be able to have people being able to text us in, to send emails in, have that all open up on our laptop as we're talking live, and get you guys included into the episodes with us. I think that would be fun. One last thing, and then I promise I'm done for this episode. Gina and I watch a show on Reel's channel. It's called On Patrol Live. I don't know if you guys have it. We have it through DirecTV, and that's a whole nother podcast again too. You got to watch it if you can sometime. The most common denominator when we watch it, it's on Friday nights and Saturday nights, and we'll record it and watch it because I'm a guy that doesn't like commercials a lot. I mean, it's got to be a good commercial for me to want to watch it. By the way, side note, if you haven't seen the new Dunkin' commercial with Ben Affleck, it's kind of funny. Look it up. But anyway, the most common denominator while watching someone get pulled over, and they cover, I think it's like several different states, 7 or 8 different counties. It's a huge amount of area. Florida, South Carolina, Ohio, a couple others. Hazen, Arkansas. Now that's why you should watch it. I'm telling you right now. Watch it for that alone. Um, the biggest thing is when you see people get pulled over is the first thing you hear is my license is suspended, and they're upset they got pulled over. Well, I'm going to help you all out with this one. If for some reason any of you that have ever been on patrol live and your license is suspended, and you just happen to somehow stumble across this on YouTube or Spotify or on our Facebook page, Loud, Lucid, and Laughs. Um, Same thing on X or even on our Instagram, and you just happen to roll up on this. I'm going to help you out. Probably you shouldn't do things like speed, not use your turn signals, drive erratically, drink and drive, or have tags on your car that are out of date or no tag at all. And maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't have the car in your name if your license is suspended. Because if a police officer does come up behind you and decides to run your plate, it comes back and says the owner of that vehicle has a suspended license, they're going to pull it over. Even if you weren't doing anything, because you're not supposed to be driving. And then they pull over and it's your cousin Teddy, and Teddy doesn't have a license either. And you're in the passenger seat, and you told Teddy you didn't have one and he should drive. And Teddy didn't tell you he didn't have one. He just decided to drive because he liked your car. Probably shouldn't have done that. Because now your car's probably getting impounded and there's a good chance you're both going to jail. So just trying to help you out there. And I apologize. I'm sorry about my soapbox or my PSA, rabbit hole, squirrel, whatever you want to call it. I mean, literally, I could do a whole nother podcast just on what I've seen on that show alone and the different things I've seen with drivers. But to close it out, as Kinsey posted, show some kindness out there. Not only in your own driving skills, but you know what? If someone does something wrong or dumb, well, maybe you did too at some point. Cut them a little slack. And you know what? I'll try not to be an auto in the future. And I want to thank you all for listening to Loud, Lucid, and Laughs. And I'm hoping to have a special next episode. I will catch you all later.